Welcome to the G4V Guitar Shop. The Guitar Shop is officially open. If you're new to the Guitar Shop or any other guitar shop, make sure your hands are clean before entering and enter with a smile for the staff. Guitar shops are the guitar player's mecca where you can try out new gear and learn about it. So, Daniel B. here. I'm a G4V Cavart's virtual chapter guitar instructor and, among other things, the host of this Guitar for Vets Guitar Shop. And, of course, the Guitar Shop wouldn't be complete without the help of our good G4V Guitar Shop guitar gurus, John DeMarco. Say hi, John.
Hey, everybody.
And
good to see
Michael O'Connell. Say hi,
Good
Mike.
morning from Seattle.
There we go. So please bear in mind that our discussions are based on experienced opinions, skills, and knowledge. Take a dime and go get a cup of coffee with that. Every effort is taken to verify any information we put forth. Any references to brands is for demonstration purpose only. We at the G4V Guitar Shop have no affiliation with any of the brands we mention or use. And on that. So welcome, and we're going to take a good look at electric guitar, well, acoustic and electric guitar pickups, how they work. The electric guitar pickups may be the one piece of electronics that really hasn't changed since its invention in 1931, as the physics remains the same. A guitar pickup works as a transducer. That's a device that converts variations in a physical quantity, such as pressure or brightness, into an electric signal or vice versa. It converts mechanical vibration from the strings into an electric signal. This signal travels down a cable to an amplifier, which turns it into sound. The first successful single coil was, John's going to go through this in a little bit, but it was invented in 1931 by George Beauchamp with the help of Adolf Rickenbacker. In the 90s, new pickup technology was introduced trying to use a LED light. These are optical pickups, which I think Kurt would really get into trying one. You can actually use your a smartphone on it with them. For one offering has it. These are the optical pickups, but they, with the LED lights, and they come with setup issues, though, like the optical pickup, or like they can only work with nylon strings. In my research on optical pickups to date, I've only come across two companies that offer them. To me, a guitar with optics would be a specialized instrument, as it is still being developed. Not that it's a bad thing. Videos I have watched have actually been, the sound is pretty good, but I would still have to categorize them as a specialty instrument. So we're going to start this off today. John's going to give us the know-how on pickups a little deeper. So, John DeMarco, the stage is yours.
Excellent. Hey, everybody. Good to see you again. As Daniel mentioned, first of all, I'm hoping you can all see my screen and you see a Rickenbacker frying pan up there.
Yes, sir.
All right. So there's a close-up of that pickup, and then a photo of the frying pan. We've probably all heard about that. One of the first all-electric guitars. There certainly were attempts with microphones inside of hollow body instruments before that. The fun thing here, I've got a copy of the actual patent that Rickenbacker and Beauchamp submitted back in the 30s. And for me, it's just, being kind of a guitar geek, I like to kind of collect, and occasionally I'll print some of this kind of stuff up and put them on my wall for a while. But in any case, this is the first known patent, basically, on a pickup, and they call it the horseshoe pickup, and you can see why. You've got those two little horseshoes kind of surrounding it. If I move on to my next diagram, I've got, again, copies of the first Fender and the first Gibson patents that I could find. The internet's a wonderful thing. Lots of stuff to find. Of course, here, you'll see that the difference between them is the Fender is just a single coil pickup, and the Gibson that patent applied for, that we've often heard about. That pickup, has got basically two rows of um, well, not magnets, two rows of pegs, and essentially, it's humbucking because the coils are basically hooked up, and uh, they're the opposite of each other, so they cancel each other out when it comes to a hum. And that was a big deal back when that occurred. Of course, now everybody makes both single coil and double coil or humbucker pickups. This is another set of drawings I just thought would be interesting to look at. If you look at the original single coils, the individual pole pieces, or I said pegs a minute ago, but the pole pieces on the original single coils were actually the magnets. And there are some uh, single coil pickups that are made that are continuing to use magnets as the pole pieces. However, you will start to see, if you take apart pickups like I've done, the less expensive ones will use a bar magnet on the bottom of those poles. Very similar to what you see in the middle there, which is the humbucker, where they're using a bar magnet on the bottom, and that's what's helping to create that signal. On the far right is a P90, and really the biggest difference you see here, it is a single coil pickup, but the big difference here is the coil of wire is wider than on a regular single coil, on a what we would call a Strat single coil. It also has two bar magnets, one on either side of the poles. And so that's probably the biggest difference. And we can talk later on about how each of these things vary the sound. And there's certainly a lot of discussion and religious beliefs behind some of that stuff. But essentially, what sets them all apart is usually very subtle things, as you can see here, where the magnets are positioned, what kind of magnet, that kind of thing. And so let's just talk about that briefly. Oh, by the way, let me just throw out one more type of pickup that we see on electrics quite often, and that is lipstick and blade. And they're both internally very similar to each other, where the coil is wrapped around the bar magnet itself. And you can see in the lower right-hand corner one that's been taken apart by somebody, as well as the diagram in the middle on that lipstick. And then if you look at the drawing of the blade, we see a lot of those now, kind of on higher end guitars, and it has to do with, again, it's a little bit interesting thing to me, because rather than focused on an individual pole, you've got that whole magnet, that whole bar going across. And so I think, what it picks up, the resonance it picks up is going to be different than a pickup with uh, normal poles. Let's just talk about magnets real quick, and I'm not going to read you this whole slide, but there's essentially three different kinds of magnets that you'll see in most pickups, and Alinco is probably the most common, and you'll see that there's actually several different kinds of Alinco. And I took this from one of the pickup manufacturers' websites, and so these are their words for the most part, although I maybe trimmed them down a little bit. But what they believe the tonal sound of these are based on the magnets that are used. Um, the big thing I think is that if you look at Alinco, it's much more expensive than ceramic magnets, or the one on the bottom, which I can never pronounce correctly, but I'm going to give it a try, neodymium magnets. Those are those little tiny, very, very strong magnets that we're all used to seeing, those or button, magnets that we're all familiar, especially if you do woodworking, you see a lot of these. to hold doors closed and that kind of thing on cabinets. Um, these are rare earth magnets, and they're very, very strong, so therefore you can use a little tiny one on your pickups. What I would say here is, hearing is believing, and I've never done a test to see can I tell the difference between an Alinco 2 and an Alinco 4 or something like that. But again, take this for what it's worth from one of the manufacturers as to these three different kinds of magnets. And then, of course, the other magical part of this are the windings that go on those pickups. And so really there's two different kinds of pickups. One is passive pickups. That's what most of us have on our electric guitars, I would say. These are basically picking up the vibrations of the strings, and it goes, straight into your amplifier, and your amplifier has a preamp stage and an amplifier stage. There's also what are called low impedance or active pickups, and I think Michael's going to demonstrate that a little later on. These are interesting as they have, usually you have a specific situation where you've either probably got it either in the cord or in the body of the guitar, you've got a preamp built in. You can certainly use these with an outboard preamp, and I saw a few online where essentially it was a little tiny preamp that plugged into the guitar. It was part of the cable going off. And then, of course, we have humbuckers and then boutique. And the difference between all of these, if you look at the specs here, is how many turns of magnet wire are on each of the coils. And so, again, I'm not going to read them to you, but you'll see some basic differences between a single coil, a P90, and humbuckers of how many windings they have. And one of the things that comes out is, today all this stuff is done for the most part by machines, and they're very, very precise. In the early days, they were hand wound, and so there's still some folks who believe that a hand wound pickup has got a definitely different sound compared to these machine wound ones. And so again, I think you'd have to do a A/B comparison to understand. And then, of course, when you talk about boutique pickups, they call them, sometimes they're overwound and they're hotter. And so in general, what you're doing is the more winds you're putting on the pickup, the stronger the signal is going to be. And so a lot of experience, I think all of us have had with interesting situations where it just didn't seem like our bridge pickup and our pickup on the between the bridge and the other pickup are working in conjunction, and you have to change volumes and stuff like that. A lot of that has been taken care of by the fact that we're now winding them via machine, and they're much more accurate from a winding perspective. And obviously you have less vibrations at the bridge than you do, or the middle pickup if you've got one, compared to the bridge, because the strings aren't vibrating as much. So having said that, let me move on. We're going to talk about some pickups for acoustics, and of course, you can use a microphone up against your acoustic, and I think a lot of us have probably done that, at least at the beginning. And to various levels of success, depending on our environment and the quality of the microphone, etc. But the two kind of biggest things that you'll see on the market are literally microphones that are inside the guitar body, or piezo pickups. And I put prices down here, and this is in no way a comparison, but Fishman's a very high-end brand. AliExpress, of course, is something very inexpensive import. But I think the big thing is that both these images demonstrate what the technology looks like, right? We're all used to seeing, piezo pickups in a lot of our guitars. Typically, you have a volume and maybe a mid and a bass or something like that. Maybe a mid and a treble, and that piezo pickup goes right underneath the bridge, and we'll look at that in just a second here. Whereas the Fishman is showing where they're actually using a microphone, and I'll have an image here next that kind of shows you how those microphone pickups work. And so this is a fun one because you basically slip it into the middle of the guitar here, and then you adjust your microphone until you feel happy about it and getting the sound that you want. I have used these, and they're a lot of fun. They do pick up a lot of extraneous noise, a lot of pick noise, and that kind of thing if you're not careful. So, they do work really well, but I think depending on, your technique, it could be a noisy way of providing, some input. The piezo pickups are interesting in that, and it's interesting to me because they're all really transducers, but people kind of split this up into two different things, piezo and transducers. They're both actually transducers. But if you look at the diagram on the left there, there's these little crystal elements in that longer element that goes into the little tray there. And essentially, it's pressure that causes it to make sound. So it isn't so much the strings themselves that you're picking up, but the pressure on the bridge. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute when we look at a Taylor. But essentially, it's a piezo pickup literally goes into the bridge underneath the saddle, and then the saddle pushes down on it, and then it's the actual physical movement of that saddle that's causing the electrical impulses to be created. If you look at the round ones on the bottom here, these typically are glued, I would call it, to the inside of the soundboard. And it's much the same thing. It's the pressure of the flexing of that soundboard. It isn't so much the sound itself as it is the physical aspect of it. Just to show you that you can do this quite inexpensively if you have an acoustic. This is from a dealer called Guitar Fetish. And you'll see a piezo on the left-hand side there, and then you'll see a preamp on the right. And for, essentially, $50, if you're not afraid to cut a hole in your guitar, you can put a piezo pickup into any acoustic. In fact, maybe on the workbench, we'll do that some night and demonstrate that, because it is really quite an easy operation. And then the last ones that I'm showing you here is they're really passive. And again, this is where you would need to have some kind of a preamp, generally speaking, because the signal coming from any of these three that you see here is so weak that just plugging it into a normal amplifier it just isn't going to give you the signal strength or the volume that you'd want. But they're, again, very inexpensive, as you can see, $18 through $60. The one in the middle is interesting in is it has these three transducers that you paste to the different positions on the soundboard underneath, and hopefully helps you balance out the sounds between bass, treble, etc. A discussion of this type would not be complete without talking about Taylor, right? Because so many of their guitars, well over 90% of their guitars, come with a built-in system. The most common, the one that we see now from the last few years, is what they call the Expression 2 system. They just came out with a new system. Interestingly enough, I could find no diagrams or inside views on the web of that, and I know that they haven't extended it to their full range yet. But from what I read, it looks like the new Claria, I think is how they pronounce it, pickup is going back to a single piezo under the saddle, and then a patent pending preamp that's built in. In the case of the Taylor Expression 2, you can see on the right there that you've got a pickup wired to underneath the saddle, underneath the bridge. You've got one on the far right there that is, they call it a sensor, but again, I think it's more like a transducer. And then in the upper right, near where the preamp is actually another sensor. And so this is what they've been using in normal manufacturing, although they do occasionally do Fishman, if you're buying the top end guitars. What makes it unique is the piezo pickup on the bridge. If you look in the lower left there's three little screws with a special tool that looks almost like a Allen bolt, but they're not. And what it does is it changes the pressure of the pickup against the saddle. And that's how they tell you to kind of adjust the sound until you like the way it is. And so you either loosen or tighten those bolts to change the pressure on the piezo pickup. That's my basic understanding of what we have to be offered, but I know that Michael and Daniel are going to talk about some more examples. And unless you've got immediate questions, I'll turn it over to Michael.
Well, thank you. And do you hear a hiss?
Yeah,
I do.
Yeah, it just appeared slowly, and it's getting louder. So is it too loud for my voice, or can you hear my voice pretty clearly?
Hear your voice.
Okay, that's great. So we're just going to do that. All right. So what I'm going to do is just talk about this guitar for a minute. It's a Fender Telecaster Deluxe Professional. I think anybody who likes fine guitars would appreciate having it. And the reason I got it is because it's got a bridge and a neck pickup on it, but they're both dual. So this is a push button system, right? A switch on, switch off system. And so these come as naturally humbuckers, but as soon as I pop these up on either of those two pickups, they become single coil. And so what I'm going to do is demonstrate what it sounds like on this guitar, and then I'm going to deviate a little bit to give you a sense of tone. Okay. All right. And so I can't hear my guitar. Can you?
No.
Okay, hold on. Let me make sure we're all turned on. We are. So whatever is causing the hiss is messing with everything we set up earlier. All right. Well, I'm going to have to describe it because it is not working all of a sudden. Something interfered with it, and now it's dead. So basically, if on this guitar, if you want old school country, you flip it on the bridge pickup, and you put it on single coil, and you get that classic old school country sound out of it. If you want to fatten it up a little bit, then you push in, right, this one button down here, knob down here, and you get a little fatter country sound into it. So you get old school, you get kind of new school, and then this guitar also has the same thing on the neck, and it has a toggle like many guitars, right, with multiple pickups. So you get bridge down here, you get combo, and you get neck above, and so that's really all I can tell you without a demonstration. The other thing I will encourage you to do, though, is to how many of you have used different picks for different sounds, different tone? Okay, so one of the things, and Dan, I didn't see you raise your hand down there, but one of the things that you can do is experiment with picks. This is a thin gauge Fender pick, and you can get a very bright tone out of the guitar. Hold on, I'm hearing it. So, or this is a Dunlop 2mm pick, and the same sound, the same amp, the same settings will give you a very deep, kind of a bassy tone almost. It cuts out all the highs. And so if you're looking for sound on your guitar, try different picks, right? And you may discover that the single coils you have work pretty well for other genres if you just use a different pick. So that's, any questions?
Dan?
When you say warmer, does that mean, or when you say fatter, does that mean it's a warmer tone?
Yeah, fatter is a bit warmer. Same thing, yeah. Okay, well that's the shortest demo in history. I was just sitting here, and all of a sudden this hiss showed up, and now nothing out of the guitar, so everything's the same way it was before.
That's what live is all about, right?
Oh, I can hear something. Can you hear it?
Yeah,
All All right, so so I've got the amp cranked up, I've got the guitar cranked up. It's going to break up a little bit. So let me just go on the single coil, right? So classic country, a little bit hot, because of the way I've got the guitar tone. And then if I just change that over to the humbucker, right, so it's a little fatter, a little richer tone. And that's just simply the keynote of the humbuckers. And then if I go from single coil here, and I go to my humbucker at the top, but I'm going to give you a clean sound so you can hear the difference here. So that's the bridge humbucker, and that's the next single coil. And just to demo that pick sound, right? So here, that was the thin pick. This is the fat pick. And I'm just going to kind of swap. So there's my B string on the fat pick. Here's the B string on the thin pick. You hear the difference? That's it. That's it. So you can change the sound of your guitar just with the pick. Now some picks work better than others. I wouldn't use a thin pick for lead, right? You need a little bit fatter than that. But for strumming versus, right, it kills all the high notes, right? Just the gauge of the pick. And so that's, if I can answer any other questions, that's kind of a simple demo. But again, this guitar, I bought it because of the flexibility of the single coils, the double coils, the bridge, and the neck pickups. And so, rather than Kurt, who would buy a guitar for every set of pickups, humbuckers and single coil and one guitar work fine for me. Okay, all right, I will turn it back over to you, Daniel.
All right, thank you, Michael. Sorry that you had those glitches. Things happen.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I'm getting this huge hiss. So
when you're live, man.
Yep, that's what happens.
So, I gotta do this. Oh, that's better. All right. So I have two pickups. So I'm going to be, let me spotlight myself again. Come on, where am I? There we go. All right, I have two pickups I want to talk about today that I use. Now, I'm kind of like Kurt. I have a guitar for every tone as far as what I needed for playing the types of music that I play. So one of them is a vintage type, the standard, like the humbucking, and I'm going to show you that in a minute. And then the one that I have in my hand is, I'm going to have to change my camera setting here in a sec. The one I have in my hand, it is it's a Revolver Pro, Fernandez Pro Revolver, sorry. I always say that backwards. And it was something I acquired from my luthier friend. And this actually is, this is played on big stages. He was in a opening act. So I'm going to show you the Sustainer pickup that is on this, the Fernandez Sustainer. It's a fascinating piece of guitar technology. Unlike a standard pickup that just captures a sound, the Sustainer system actually creates a magnetic feedback loop. And let me change my camera so you can see this. This is going to take just a second. And there we are. Okay. And this is what it looks like. It's a regular humbucking right here. And then this is the Sustainer. Now, one of the things about a sustainer is that they have to be a certain distance away from the bridge pickup. This is how they have to be put in. And otherwise, there would be just a mash of signals that just wouldn't work out. So there's an allowance for your measurements. And the really cool thing about this is that not only does it sustain, it'll sustain for as long as the battery is going, because it is an active pickup. Then it also has, I have two switches on this, and one of them is the sustainer itself, and then this one, when I put it on, will create a fifth of the note that's being played, a higher fifth. So this is what it sounds like. So I had those switches backwards, but anyway, I always forget which is which. There's no label on them. And that's what they do. It will sustain forever. And it's kind of like, if anybody has seen these, let me see if I can share this. Where's my little share button? Here it is. There it is. Is these. This is an EBO, if anybody's ever seen them. And they basically work the same way. When you hold the EBO over the string, it vibrates the string and sustains it. That was one of the parts I forgot to say. The magnet, the way it's set up, is actually making the strings vibrate, and will keep vibrating them, and it picks up the frequency of the whatever the note on the string is. So the one of the setbacks with the sustain note is that you have to learn a little bit when you're playing it on sustain. You got to improve your palming techniques. So otherwise it's just going to be it can get really busy, if you know what I'm saying. So let's see. So oh yeah, so when I turn off the sustainer, I have it actually, it's just a regular with the selector switch. It's just a regular neck pickup, but it's a humbucker. So again, muting is the key when you're using one of these. Now I'm going to show you a really my other guitar. Give me a second. These never come out the way you rehearse them, do they, Michael? And I don't have a strap on this one, so I'm not really going to be playing it. This is a Carvin Ultra V. Very rare. Let me change my camera position so you can see it again. Oh boy. Love OBS Studio. I just wish I knew where the hotkeys were. So this is my Ultra V. This is my #1 guitar. And the great thing about it back in the day, because you can't get them anymore, is Carvin had made up what they called the M22 pickup. And let me change my camera again. Okay, and that's this. And they actually have 11 poles per coil. Again, like a humbucking, it has wires going one way, wires going the other. So they have opposite polarities. And This can be tapped or split. Each coil can be split, and these are the switches for that. And right now they're both set at humbucking. When you do have it on single coil, it is going to hum. So this is like a regular neck pickup. It runs about 8K ohms. That's how you measure the power of the pickup. And this one right here on the bridge is actually what they call a super distortion. Those are available. DeMarco makes one, and so does Seymour Duncan. Seymour Duncan has a really hot one. This one's running almost 14 ohms, or K ohms, 14,000 ohms. The Super DeMarco, it's I forgot the name of it. It actually runs around almost 17K. So it's going to be a guitar that's hard to keep clean. You're going to use it for, if you want to, if you're playing in a metal band, that's what you're going to use. This one here, if I have my amplifier just on the edge of distortion or going to an overdrive, if I change to this pickup, it will put it into a distortion. And another interesting thing I did find out, because John, I was wondering how many, if I had the super distortion or if I had the regular M22 bridge pickup on this, because I remember when I ordered these back in 2006. And this is really cool. Y'all can do this if you have a multimeter. And that's by taking your cable and you set your multimeter to 20 K ohm, and going through your cable, you can make the measurement. One terminal would be on the tip, and then one on the sleeve, and that would give you the readout. So I think that was about all I had on that. Let me change my scene back. And that's about, I think, our spiel on pickups today, gentlemen. Is there... Please, any questions, ask us. No? Is this going to be a short one? John, Michael, anything to add?
No, I just wanted to get you a rock out over there, though.
So a P90 is a little warmer than a humbucker.
P90 is warmer. They still buzz a little bit though. Mm-hmm. They have the quality, some of the qualities of a humbucker, and some of the qualities of a single coil. It's a totally different tone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd say they're actually somewhere between a humbucker and a single coil.
Yeah,
or that's
a Strat. What they are. Yeah,
they're
as far as the stats go and everything. Yeah, they're about in between. They have a beautiful sound. It's very unique, just as much as a Stratocaster's single coils. It's when it comes down to your pickup selections. You have your standards, but if you want to modify to a different different pickups, and of course you want to match them. You buy them in sets. I don't know. Has anybody ever heard of anybody using two different types of pickups on their guitars?
Yeah, I'm sure somebody's done it, but
I'd be curious.
But yeah, typically you buy them in a match set, and so bridge pickup is typically hotter than or rather,
Then
the
the neck.
bridge pickup is usually not as hot as the. No, I got to get the right way.
You got it the back. Yeah, the bridge is
Yeah,
hot.
the neck pickup is not as hot as the bridge pickup, and that's because the strings aren't vibrating as much at the bridge.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
So, and with again, you can get sets that are hot, overwound, like Michael was saying, or like John was saying. Uh, they said that Eddie Van Halen used to wind his own pickups. I don't know if that's true. I don't think anybody's ever really proved it, have they?
No, that I heard of. No,
But I
no, and
do,
winding pickups again. You can buy a pickup winder. You can make them.
yeah,
Might be another topic for a workbench sometime, but uh, the wire is incredibly thin, and so I've never wound them myself, but everybody I've ever talked to who has says you wind up breaking wire, and that means you get to start over again
yeah,
usually. So
right. I'm just curious as how they do the tap or do the split because I understand it's well maybe it's one bobbin. I don't know. I was
Well,
trying to
in
find
these pickups, it's one bobbin, and they break off, they feed off the center of the coil,
right,
right? To get fewer windings out of it. So there's actually circuitry that'll pull it from the coil or half the coil.
right. Yeah, that was it. Yep.
Yeah.
Now I did read where uh, Seymour Duncan has one. Which one did I say was the hot one? Did I say Seymour Duncan? I hope I did. Um, had the has one like I said, it goes up to 17 k ohm, but for the output, there was circuitry. They were using some kind of a circuit underneath it, like a chip. So that's
oh, interesting.
interesting. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
I think it may be to probably keep it under control.
right.
I can imagine
Yeah,
it's pretty hot. I mean that
absolutely. Yeah.
uh, the hot rails themselves, Seymour Duncan's hot rails. You showed the two rails, John. They're running at close to 16.
Hmm.
They're really hot pickups. So, but with the hot pickups comes issues. Could be noise, or as you're playing them, they may get a little out of control on you. So, um, let me change this to gallery. There we go. So, any more questions from y'all? Any comments?
Well, I was going to say anybody who's thinking about swapping pickups on their guitar, there's plenty to them to look at.
Oh
One
yeah,
of the options you have with humbuckers is you can get them pre-wired um, for some of the stuff we're talking about. So rather than having just two leads coming off the pickup, you might have as many as four or five, and depending on what you hook up to what switches, then you
mm-hmm.
might be able to coil tap or you might be able to do different things. And it's not really terribly complex once you have the key of the red wire, the blue wire, the green wire, the white wire. I did put a tappable pickup into one of my builds at one point, and I literally all I did was put a single pull switch in and connect two wires up to it, and I could go from a humbucker to a single coil with just the one switch. So it can be done very inexpensively and easily.
Yeah. One thing I do know with the coil split when because of the toggle switches, it's a three-way toggle switch. So when you're trying to wire that, because I tried to wire that that carving after it had gone underwater. That's why it's all new electronics on it. So soldering that, I mean, they're small. They're small, and so you got 6 connections that you have to
Right.
make, 6 solders, and that's double because you got both pickups were able to be split.
Yeah. 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 It's something maybe we ought to make Matthew do for us sometimes, do a demonstration because,
Absolutely.
yeah. Yeah. Because, soldering a couple leads is pretty fast and easy. But when you start getting, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them, uh, now you got a little jungle going and it's all miniaturized.
Right. The thing to remember about pickups is from the choice of guitar, whether you're going to do a single coil or you're going to go humbucking or P90s, is you're looking for the tones, the sounds, the performance of the pickup, or the set of pickups, uh, for your needs. Even on acoustics, whether you're going to go with a transducer type, the microphone type, or the piezos, which or piezo's, it's going to make a big difference on how the tones are made and what it does.
I don't know if you noticed, but whenever I use the word piezo, I would pronounce it different every time. So I got to hit it right at least once somewhere in
Right.
there. So
I thought it was just fascinating how they worked under pressure and not as a basically like a microphone with
right,
which is
yeah,
all a pickup really is.
yeah.
Got a
Um,
que-
I didn't do the optics yet. That's the other thing I wanted to show was the optic. I did show the optic, but one thing that was like I think I did say, didn't I say about the smartphone, using the smartphone with them?
Oh yeah, yeah.
And
You mentioned that.
and I'm curious is if they may start making them so there's performance qualities like choruses or reverb or delay, that are connected to it just as much as like the Spark amp or the Mustangs, the new Mustangs, uh, Fender Mustangs, not to be confused with the Ford.
Question.
Yes.
You said about using your ohm meter on your guitar cable to check the impedance or the resistance of the coils.
The output, yeah.
Yeah. Now, does that also work on like Ibanez with active pickups or?
Yes. Oh yeah. You just
Okay.
have to remember to turn on the active part of it because have you got a switch to turn it off to make it passive?
No, it's
No.
all
Yeah.
made.
Active will still do the same thing.
Okay.
That's what I was wondering, John. Did you see anything in your research about how whether active pickups were wound or if they were just circuit?
No, active pickups are wound, and they don't use anywhere near as many windings. So
Yeah,
that's why
that
they
was
need a
it.
preamp. So they're quieter, just because the threshold is lower for sound. So they're quieter. Again, hence why you need to have a preamp because it's got to bring the volume up enough for your regular amplifier to have enough juice.
And usually there's tone controls involved in the preamp as well, right?
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, anybody, if you have any more questions about anything we're doing, you can always uh, make a post on CavArts or PM any of us. You guys know how to do a PM on Cav Arts, and we'll answer your questions on gear or whatever you'd like. Right now, I've been having a discussion with a young lady about mini amps, and like the various costs where you could only spend $30, or do you want to go to something that's going to really work well for you? And so I was steering her in that direction to get something of a little more quality.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, although we could do a episode on mini amps sometime, and
Well, we pretty much did with the smart amps, but there are mini amps.
yeah.
And some of the interesting ones I remember is the hot box or whatever they called them. They were only little 5-watt.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, and then what's the other one? I had one when I was a kid, and I had one not too long ago. Traded it to somebody. The pig nose. Remember the pig nose?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Or the mini cubes.
Yeah. Yeah, the pig nose, you couldn't get a non-distorted sound out of it to save your life, but boy, if you didn't mind cranking it up, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was. Yep. I do have a little custom 10-watt that actually has a little gain to it, and I can get a little distortion out of it when I need it without using a pedal. I mean, this is just using the amplifier.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, I guess we'll call this a day then, huh, gentlemen? How come there's never any ladies? And yet there should be. I mean,
Yeah.
all us beginners should be learning this kind of stuff. Just for the upcoming events, next week is the Guitar Brigade, and Ken and Dave are going to be looking at knowing your keyboard or your fretboard, and particularly paying attention to the D, G, and B string. So that's going to be interesting because we all learn the E and A really quick when we're beginners. We never pay attention to until later on, maybe, to the D, G, and the B string. So it's going to be an interesting spiel. That's going to be Wednesday at 8:30, next Wednesday. And then the last Friday of the month, let me see. Let me get some dates here. On the 26th is another adventure with Paul and myself for office hours. Michael, John, you're invited anytime. You know that. And then on Saturday the 27th is going to be, this is Bluegrass with Danny Smith. And Danny has already made a posting already about what he's doing on Cav Arts on the feed. So if y'all want to have a look at that, it looks pretty good. He's going to be going to doing intros and outros with your lead intros and outros to his songs. And I forgot what the name of the song was that he's using, but anyway, it's going to be pretty good. And then we're back around to the 1st of July again with iJam. Have y'all been, anybody haven't been to iJam yet? It's pretty good with Mike. He does a really good job, an excellent job with it. Just wish he would do more songs. But it's all right. So I'm putting this close sign on the window. The guitar shop is closed until the next time we meet. On behalf of the Guitar for Vets Guitar Shop staff, we thank y'all for joining us. To all, remember, you can pick your guitar for health and happiness. Guitar for Vets is a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to providing relief to struggling veterans through the healing power of music and community. Since 2007, Guitar for Vets has served at-risk United States veterans impacted by PTSD and other service-related trauma. through our unique 10-week structured guitar instruction program, putting the healing power of music in the hands of our nation heroes, helping to foster renewal, connection, and community. On that, namaste, my friends, and please be well.